Well, hello, friends. Darren Bailey coming to you with another episode of just straight and real talk about how we get our state under control. I want to thank you so much for tuning in with us during these podcasts. Do understand as they continue to grow, I'm completely at home with my Facebook Lives, but I got a lot of technology at my fingertips here, and I don't know how to use any of it. So one of these days we'll get here. Having an amazing day today. David Paul Blumenshine drove down from Bloomington Normal, and we've been dear friends for about 6 years now at least, and we've been traversing this journey of restoring Illinois, our home. Illinois is our home, so we've been the goal of these podcasts are to catalog conversations. So that when you're having conversations with other people who want to get involved but just don't know quite what to do, that you can pull out a 15, 20-minute conversation and share this with them to gain better understanding, to get our Republican Party back on track. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. We want to talk about the inner operations of the Republican County GOP because if you desire to serve as precinct committee person and you're elected to that position, you show up to your first, hopefully monthly meeting of your county Republican Party, and you've got people there that have been there for years, and maybe hopefully people are looking to get the ball rolling. Some counties are doing an amazing job. Other counties are still kind of, asleep at the wheel, and you're wanting to get something done. So you show up at the meeting, and let's talk a little bit about what the responsibilities, how this machine of the local county party, GOP in particular, works and functions.
Well, obviously, Darren, I want to correct you on something real quick, is I would say that we could line up all the state senators and all the House representatives and our governor and anybody that probably resides in Springfield or at least is there to govern, and none of them could operate this equipment. I have a radio show on Sundays from 1 to 3 at Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. Because of technology like this is why I say beyond, because this can go anywhere. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be in Illinois to be watching these podcasts. You'll be able to pull them up and view them and learn about kind of these step-by-step process to restoring Illinois, to taking back our county parties. And when I say taking back our county parties, you brought up a good point. We have been asleep. I mentioned this in, I think, episode 1. And this is our 3rd episode. So once again, thank you for having me down here to your home and doing these podcasts. But, Illinois is our home, and it's home for everybody. And the Republican Party has been out of control for so long that they're out of control. I had mentioned that the Democrats run their party like a business. We run our party like a garage sale that we have 2 times a year. And we don't even consider the consolidated elections in the off years to even be elections because we bought into the lie that they're nonpartisan. There's nothing further from the truth. Every election is partisan, meaning you don't have to call it Democrat, Republican. You can call it progressive versus conservative, socialist versus somebody that's on the right. I don't care what you label it as. It definitely is the ongoing battle for ideology and ideas. And that's what your local party is about, whether it is the Democrat Party or the Republican Party. It's getting your messaging out to the voters. And so you've obviously said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a precinct committee person. And now when you talk about who's on the ballot for the general elections or in consolidated elections, where did those candidates come from? Well, they come from you as a precinct committee person. Because how do you go about finding qualified people to run in those positions if they don't know how the process works? I ran for state rep twice, and I came off as a precinct committee person, and it was a primary, so I was running against an incumbent. And, as much as I could try to garner out of my party. They weren't going to participate in primaries and favoritism of any candidate. So I had to take what limited knowledge I had about my own precinct and the voters and try to extrapolate that to the larger district, right? And utilize the steps it takes. Now, granted, precinct committee people can become county board members. They can run for school boards. They can run for town councils, village boards, townships, state representative, state senator, and and they can even run for governor, because precinct committee people should all the way up. I know that my opponent for those 2 state rep races, he was a precinct committee person. Our state senator that just resigned from McLean County, one of the state senators who just resigned, he still is on the books as a precinct committee person. Now, I don't know what he will do going forward, whether he'll stay in that seat, but I think it's also important to realize there comes a time for everyone. That's why there is this upward mobility, and there is the opportunity. Now, as you said, why is it that the Republican Party is so broken in the state of Illinois? Because for too long, we got very complacent about squatting. So we had state reps and we had state senators who were spending 20 years, 25 years in office. And when you're sitting as a precinct committee person saying, well, I'd really like to go up to a different level. How do I get there? Well, if that state rep decides never to leave, then you are kind of a glass ceiling. And it's good to have that upward mobility. Now, granted, not everybody aspires to be at a higher level. They just enjoy being a precinct committee person. I still think it's vitally important that they realize burnout can happen. Elections are based on burnout. Once again, as I ran for state representative and I didn't have the backing of PACs or the party, the person that had to do the work was me. Well, I was already doing the work in my precinct. It just, when you expand that footprint from, 1,500 doors or, to 4,500 doors or 11,000 doors, you can get burned out. And I will tell you that my wife and I, being on this journey together, and she's been by my side, knocking on as many doors as I have, coordinating poll watchers, getting election judges in place, looking for volunteers to go door to door with us, to be part of parades, to be part of events, it can wear you out. And unfortunately, that's another thing. We haven't had enough people volunteer to be part of the process. So you don't have to even be a precinct committee person. You can just be a volunteer, and that's important. And maybe after you volunteer, you decide, hey, I'd like to be a precinct committee person. I'd like to run for office. These are my ideas. And that's how this whole thing is built upon, and trying to find good qualified people that are willing to work. Unfortunately, in the state of Illinois, we have 102 county chairs. And I would say right now, currently, as things stand, we don't have a majority of counties actively building out their precinct committee people and the process of winning elections. And we're not going to win elections until we build out that structure.
No, I love that. So as we mentioned in an earlier episode, go to your clerk's office, and if you're just totally green to all of this and you're not sure what to do, find out who to contact, or one of your friends who might be a precinct committee member, or find out who the chair of that committee is, and find out when they hold their monthly meetings. Hopefully, many of them are on the second Tuesday, third Thursday, and show up at that meeting, and then just participate as a bystander and just listen to what's going on. And then many times when people participate at that level, then they do indeed desire to run for that. I think it's interesting. In Bloomington Normal, where you're at, you have 1,500 people in your precinct. Cindy is the precinct committee person for Oskaloosa Township, our committee. She's got 200 people.
200, all right.
But it all, when the precinct committee person, especially in the higher populated areas, when you're up doing your job, informing people of who the candidates are and making sure that they are educated and informed, that's how we elect good school board members, good
Mm-hmm.
county board members.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we then, elect and support our state representatives and our state senators, and even in judge races. That's how we get the information out
Mm-hmm.
about who's on the ticket and what these people stand for.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly enough, you should be meeting these people at your
Mm-hmm.
county board meetings. These people, the county, some of the county GOPs, they're responsible. They raise funds so that they can support and put out
Mm-hmm.
mailers and get the message out and participate with phone calls. I've been in offices. County GOP offices where there are phone banks set up so you can
Mm-hmm.
volunteer during campaign season and come in and just and participate in an automated program of just calling people and say, hey, I want to let you know about candidate so and so, and this is what they stand for, this is what they're running for, and I hope you show up to vote. And the county GOP the county party can be the most powerful mechanism to getting the voice out locally, but we've got to have people to
That's right.
participate. You mentioned something, and just really, God bless everyone who's out there serving.
Mm-hmm.
But I served on the North Clay School Board, and I served for
Mm-hmm.
17 years, and during that whole entire time, the community had faith in me and a couple of others, and I was there. That last time that I ran, I just realized my passion wasn't what it was, and I began to, and then the thought hit me, oh my goodness, after this 4-year term, I will have been here for 17 years, and
Yeah.
and I'm watching all these newer families, many of which were. Maybe they were families, young people coming in that now had children that maybe Cindy and I had in in some of our Sunday school classes and in our youth groups, and I realized that these people need to learn the leadership of this
Mm-hmm.
constitutional republic, and this is
Mm-hmm.
where it starts at the county level, and that's when I really began to realize that term limits is where it's at. I mean, there is no accident that our presidency is has an 8-year a term, no accident whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, it's just
Well,
that's where it's at.
I never want to be the person that holds back a future leader. And I know that we have a lot of future leaders out there. I've always said since the day one, when I got involved with the Republican Party, and I kind of watched how it was, structured. We had people who had been in office for a long time. And those people still needed precinct committee people. They still needed the person who just is willing to write letters to the editor. Now, that's kind of advanced a little bit. It's more of the social media post. They still had to organize mailers. There's a plethora of different activities that you might not have the time to be a precinct committee person, or you have a desire to be an elected official. But can you give a few hours to organize signs, to put signs out? So each one of these little areas that you're attracting, poll watchers is a great one. Because we have an election season, we need poll watchers. I'll give you a quick little example of what you had just mentioned about Cindy having 200 and me having 1,500. Well, during your race, the gubernatorial race, we had 85 poll watchers in McLean County. We had 90 poll watchers in Cook County. The difference in population is about 2,500,000 people.
Yeah.
Well, what our goal is to shift people until we can adequately build out the structure in Cook County. Cook County, believe it or not, Darren, and I don't know if you're aware of this little factoid, that county has the largest contingency of Republican voters in the United States of America.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we're
showing up.
They're not showing up. So this is a shout out to all my friends up in the Cook County area. Once again, we know what the Republican Party has done for the last 20 years. It's evident. We haven't taken a majority in either the House or the Senate. We haven't held a state office with any, consistency for a very long time. And until we do a better job of running our counties, 102 of them, where we can help in helping each other out too, because the more voters we get to turn out below I-80, the more it's going to help those statewide races, like running for governor. We mentioned this. If we would have had 60 to 70% voter turnout below I-80, we'd have
Right.
Governor Bailey right now. And I don't know, Darren, if we'd still be doing podcasts. We might be.
Hopefully we would be too busy.
That's right. We would probably be doing podcast on how to do what we said we were going to do, which is restore Illinois, because there's a plethora of things that need to be done, but we're never going to have a seat at the table to fix Illinois. That's what Rauner, his thing was, to fix Illinois. We were to restore Illinois, but none of that. I believe it's restore the Illinois GOP.
Yeah.
We've got to start there.
Yeah.
When we restore our party and we get back to the basics and our platform, and we build that out county by county. And I think we've seen some groups that are doing that. They're trying to come in and stimulate that growth. But we've got a long way to go. We're just getting started. I get that. And I appreciate anyone who has served in any capacity in years gone by. Unfortunately, we're not going to apply those same methodologies and strategies to today. They just don't work. They've shown that over time, and we've got to chart a new course. And I think that's part of what we're doing here today with these podcasts.
I love that. Something I keep forgetting is it just Cook County? They don't refer to themselves as precinct committee people. They're aldermen.
Yeah,
so it's a little bit different. I found myself in the early days talking, and the lingo.
It's the township. So, for instance, Bremer Township is the city of Chicago. So, a lot of the counties up north really lean in heavily upon their township. Granted, we have townships in McLean County too, and if I'm not I know I'm close on this number. I think it's like 85 counties have townships, do operate under county township basis. Okay. Not all counties, not all 102 counties have townships, but up there it's a big deal, right? Having one of those positions. The city of Chicago obviously has aldermen, which is also a unique concept to municipal run government. But townships, they really stress that up there.
Yes, yeah,
because it comes with road commissioners and water treatment people, and that gets back into the whole machine that's been created on the side of the Democrat Party, a very well-oiled machine. I think that both of us can attest that we don't necessarily like it, but and I'm not saying we admire it, but we respect it. Whether we agree with it or not, they work. Their system works.
Yep, that is exactly right. So, and that's as we were campaigning in the early days, and, we might have been in DuPage County or one of the higher populated counties, and people then were asking, now, have you met with as you mentioned, the Bremen Township Republicans?
Bremer Township,
no, I talked to the Cook County Republicans, but no, you have these township bases up there as well that are, and that's where a lot of the work gets done, just very passionate people in their communities. And anyway, we've got the infrastructure, we've got the system, and it's as old as our Constitution. We just need the people.
We need the people, and that's the thing. It's we the people. That's how it starts out, right? The Constitution starts out with you and me. And I can tell you, going forward, if we don't do something different, then it's never going to change. And ultimately, we have all the power, right? In our voting, our ability to go cast our vote, but also in our ability to actively participate in the process of governing. Because, as I said, the government doesn't work for us, or we don't work for the government works for us. And that's so vitally important. And I know we're up against the cameras once again, shutting down, but we are getting the kinks worked out. Darren, you're going to be a technical wizard once this is all said and done. Here he comes back. His chair's empty. My camera's not on yet. But you know what? It's a good time because we're at 19 minutes and we're trying to keep these short.
No,
and so
you did good filling in, because obviously the podcast, you're not going to see the video anyway. These are going to be aired on YouTube, and we'll get all that. One of these podcasts will be telling you exactly where to look, but we're going to push it out there. You're going to see us, and And David Paul, thank you so much for your time, for your passion, for your energy, for your faithfulness, for your dedication to Illinois
Well, thank
and
you.
And the future of our freedom. So,
And right back at you, because obviously there's a reason we're taking our time to put these together, to catalog these podcasts, is because the people need to know. And this is a great vehicle, you know. I get it. Technology isn't always a good thing, right? But in this instance, it is, because
right.
God intended this technology to be a voice,
That's right.
to be heard around the world. And
Yep.
that's what we hope that happens with these
Thank you.
cataloging these episodes
Well,
going
thank you
forward.
so much.
Nope. Thank
Friends,
you.
as you find us, spread the word, share these podcasts, share these messages, get on YouTube, hit that like button, push these out. If you have ideas, reach out to us, baileyforillinois.com. Send us a Darren at baileyforillinois.com. Send me an email and ask me, give us some suggestions of some things that you want to talk about. And maybe you may be a guest on this one of these days, because every week we want to put a new conversation out there. We want to educate, we want to inform, and we want to empower. God bless you. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll be seeing you soon.